Go on, what number's that? Is it towards the front or towards the back?
No, towards the back.
Towards the back.
It's
Which number?
446.
446. 446?
Yeah.
That's the 446.
446, yeah.
44, so towards the front.
No, the back. Page 446.
Page 446.
No. What surah?
Surah 37.
37. 37. Okay. Surah 37. What ayah, please?
Verse 104,
104. Okay, so let's read it. So what I asked you, if you remember, is where does the Quran say that Ishmael was the son of the sacrifice? So let's see if it says Ishmael. Okay, so it says, we called out to him, O Abraham, thou hast already fulfilled the vision, thus indeed do we reward those who do right. For this was obviously a trial, and we ransomed him with a momentous sacrifice, and we left this blessing for him among the generations to come in later times. Peace and salutations to Abraham, thus indeed do we reward those who do right. So that doesn't say Ishmael, does it? No. Right. What would you say if I told you that the Quran doesn't say Ishmael was the son of the sacrifice anywhere?
Yeah, so what?
Right.
Yeah, but we have Sunnah.
Yes, you have Sunnah.
It's not only Quran.
Right, yes, I know you do.
Yeah.
You have Sunnah.
Yeah.
Right, but your hadiths are dated to 200 years after the Prophet Muhammad.
No, it's not.
Yes, they are.
No, it's not.
Okay, what's...
You know Tawatur.
When,
You know Tawatur.
what Mutawatir, yes.
Yeah, you know Tawatur.
Yeah, they are written in...
It's not 200 years after.
They are in compilations.
Like the Bible was written 400 centuries after.
No, that's
And
changing the subject.
And that was
No,
the latest.
That's changing the
manuscript
subject. That's
that
changing the
was found.
subject.
So that's not the same. That's not the
So, no, that's changing the subject. In your... Yeah, it's just not true. One second.
So we can learn.
Let's all try... Sorry, can we all try to have one conversation?
Until now. No, they hold it till now. It's still...
Sorry. Let's try to Michael, he's just using this to divert. He's using this to divert. Right? Because he knows that when was Sahih al-Bukhari written?
Well, it wasn't written after 200 years, but that...
There you go.
Just a minute.
When was Sahih al-Muslim written?
Just a minute.
When was Sahih al-Muslim written?
Have you seen how it is written?
Yes, I've seen how it is written.
What Tawatur is?
One second. The compilation...
That's from someone.
That's just a list of names.
Just a minute.
That's just a list of names.
Just a minute. Have you... No,
Right, but if I learn a list of names, right? If I learn a list of names... One second.
Who we trust?
Shall we try to have a conversation rather than talking over one another? Shall we try to have a conversation rather than talking over one another, right? So to do that means that I talk, you listen, you talk, I listen. And that's how Speaker's Corner works. If we start talking over one another, it becomes an argument. Okay? Right? So this is an example of bad manners. Don't be like him. Right? So let's just think about this. The hadith collections that you recite, like Sahih al-Bukhari,
We don't recite
right?
but yeah,
they were born in a milieu when one Islamic empire overthrew another Islamic empire.
Yes.
When the Abbasids overthrew the Umayyads, right?
Yes.
And in that context, Muslims of different political camps were making up hadiths to justify their political positions.
Every hadith.
Right.
Every hadith.
Yes, that's a fact.
No,
That is a fact. Look, the fact that you don't know Islamic history is not my problem.
I actually studied Islamic history.
Then you should know that is a
Islamic
fact.
history. And I studied law and Sharia at the same time as well.
Right, great.
So I do know very well about it.
So you're saying that no hadiths were ever made up?
There are a lot of hadiths were made up.
Thank you, great.
That's
So there were a lot of hadiths were made up. Brilliant, we've established that.
The majority of the hadiths are made up. Are
Yeah.
known that they are
We know
made
that
up.
they are made up.
And they are
Great.
known that they are
So we know
false.
not to believe it.
Look, it's the most... 1 minute, I will
Yeah.
speak and then you will proceed. Okay?
Yeah, but you just didn't. I'll just point out you did interrupt me.
Yeah, but that's a conversation.
No,
Okay, I will not interrupt you after. You
right.
can continue.
So let me finish my point
Continue.
without interruption,
Yes.
and then I'll listen to you.
Sure.
Okay? Don't be rude like this, man. Don't be rude like that, man.
They are not
So,
rude.
so the point is, when the Abbasids overthrew the Umayyads,
Yes.
when the Shia were trying to justify their political
Just a minute.
position. Let me finish.
I'm
There you're
not-
interrupting again. There you're interrupting again.
They're just correcting
There
your
you're
historical
interrupting
background.
again.
Sorry.
Okay, so you won't complain when I interrupt you, will you?
just-
That's good. I'm
Abbasiyah,
glad.
not Shia.
I'm glad you will not complain.
Abbasiyah, but
I'm
complain.
glad
he
you will
shouldn't.
not
He
complain.
won't complain.
I'm glad you won't complain when I interrupt you. I'm glad you won't complain when you
Yeah.
interrupt you because you didn't even hear what I had to say.
No, I heard you.
So what did
That's
I
why
say?
he's-
You said when like Shia to justify what they did. Abbasiyah,
No,
not
what you
Shia.
see, you didn't listen because you didn't
Okay.
finish the sentence.
Go on.
Because that wasn't what I was
But
going
I
to
don't
say.
think I'm not giving
So,
justice.
no, I'm going to. But the thing is, I would get through my points quicker if you interrupt less.
Sure.
Yeah?
Continue.
And then you're able to make a point. That's how a conversation works. So, as well as the Umayyads and the Abbasids each trying to justify their own political position, you had other groups like the Shia trying to justify their theology of the Imamate, and they created their own hadiths and their own canon of hadiths by rejecting the ones by Aisha. And the reality is, yeah, there's cameras over there. Everybody gets filmed around here, right? So my point is to you, we know that hadiths were being generated to justify different positions. So if you then cotton on that someone accepts this list of names, as people did, they learned, oh, this list of names is reliable. In that context, it's very easy to just make up a hadith that sounds good and then stick that list of names that you know
It's not
people
like
accept
this.
in it.
No, it's not
Go on,
like
explain why it's not like that.
Okay, firstly, I do understand where you're coming from in that sense. But like, to be able to make a judgment on that, you need to study the ilm of hadith.
Yeah.
Okay? You have a lot of things going on in there, like from tawatur, the jarh al-ta'dil,
Yep.
to the science of men, like
Yes.
al-rijal as well.
Yes.
All of these things, when you do that in a combination, and years and years and studying,
Yeah.
and while studying a lot of hadiths, and
Yeah.
seeing also the references, at that point you can make a judgment towards that.
Right.
The thing is, yes, there are some made up hadiths,
And we know that
that's
they
for
are made
sure.
up.
We
Yeah.
already know, like we know for a fact, the only book that wasn't modified or changed or nothing added to
Yeah.
is Quran, and we do believe in that.
Now, I don't want to get into a side argument about the different versions of the Quran.
Which different versions? Even Hafs and
But
all
it's,
of that.
that's a side argument.
All
It's
of
a
them
side
are
argument.
the same, but
It's a side argument. There are different versions of the Quran.
No, it's
This,
only one version.
this Quran, that's just
You
not
mean
true.
Hafs and Usman?
That's just not true. That's just not true.
It is true.
But it is a side argument. That is a side argument. I want to stick to about
It's a side
Ishmael.
argument. It's from Quran.
Same
No, that's
word.
just not true.
Literally
We've seen different versions of the Quran. It doesn't matter. I've seen it with my own eyes.
I've
It doesn't
seen them
matter
as
what you
well.
say. I've
And
seen it with my own
I've seen them
eyes.
as well, and I know
Yeah.
what you're coming from in that point.
Yeah.
But they are not different versions.
It's one
You
version.
don't, you
No,
don't
it's-
say,
it's
you don't-
not one
no, no,
version.
no, no,
There's
just a
several
minute,
different
just a minute,
versions
just a minute, just a
of the
minute.
Quran.
The changes are like
changes, that's the key word.
Just a minute, just a word between one verse
Thank
and another
you.
verse.
So they are
It's the
changes.
word.
Great.
No, no,
We've
but-
established that
no,
there's changes. Brilliant.
Just a minute.
That's a side
just
issue.
minute.
No, not.
Okay.
You
One
can't cut
moment,
him
one
and
moment.
take this point off.
Yeah, one
He needs
moment.
to
No, I was
One
trying
moment.
to
One
move
moment.
past this
One
point.
moment.
I was trying to move.
One
I was
moment.
trying to move past this point.
Yes.
I said it was it
The
was
only
not
change-
the issue I wanted to talk
The
about.
only small changes was
Yeah.
if you know in the Arabic, you speak Arabic.
No, I want to talk about Ishmael. I don't want to talk about
I will
the
come
Quran.
back, but you just
Yeah.
went
just
one and one
opening-
and one.
you're opening
about
No, no,
Okay.
you
and
said
then
the
one
Quran
moment,
has
one
never been
moment,
changed.
one
You
moment.
brought that
No,
into
it's
the
never been
conversation.
changed.
It's never
Never
changed.
been
Only one
changed.
Quran.
That's not true.
One
It is
moment.
true.
One
It's
not
moment.
true.
One
Let
moment.
him explain.
Compare this Quran to your
Yeah.
earliest texts of the Quran. They're different.
It's the same.
You can.
They're not the
You
same.
definitely can.
They're not the
You
same. Go and do it
definitely can.
yourself.
It's
Let
a-
him
You've been lied to
One
by your
moment.
scholars.
One moment.
You've been lied to by your scholars.
The only difference is you
Yeah.
will find is
Yeah.
the one with a dot, okay, with dots like under the like B and C in the language of
Yep,
Arabic,
yep.
okay, and ones that they are not,
Yeah.
because the original Arabs they didn't need it. They could have read the full script
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
the need of all
Yeah.
that stuff,
Yeah.
Because
and they
it's their
understand the full
language.
meaning
Yeah.
because it's their main language.
Thank you.
But afterwards,
Right.
they started to put these
So,
make things
small
easier.
Allow me to
Really?
come.
But
Allow
it's
me
the
to come
same
back to the
meaning.
point I was making.
Yeah.
Because this is
But-
not a
but
conversation.
it's not changed
No,
from
I'm
a
sorry. I
language to a
just don't
language.
believe it.
It's the
I just
same
don't
meaning.
believe
I know,
it.
I
No,
don't
just don't believe
That's
you.
the thing.
If you are believing us,
But,
you'll be
so
Muslim.
let's come back.
That's why
Let's come. Let's
Okay.
no because
That's-
hold on. The
that's the
phone.
beauty about
No,
conflict,
no.
about
Wait.
conflict.
Guys, let's have a conversation.
We don't need to
Let's have-
agree, or
let's
you
have-
believe
let's
me,
have a
or I
conversation.
believe you.
The phone book has never been changed. It doesn't mean that it's true. Mein Kampf has never been changed. It doesn't mean that it's
No, the
true.
phone book get changes every 3 years. by the way.
The Tolkien's Lord of the Rings has never been changed. It doesn't make it true.
But
The
there-
parallel.
there-
So
there-
no,
there-
so
there- anywhere it is.
so what we've got,
Everything,
coming
anywhere
back to the
editions.
question of Ishmael,
Okay.
Your earliest material, which is the Quran, which
Yes.
predates all your hadith literature,
Yeah.
never
All right,
mentions
the
that
same time.
Ishmael
Hadith
is the
happened at the
son
same time.
of the
Hadith-
sacrifice.
hadith happened at the
No,
same
that's
time.
just what you say.
No, just a minute.
No, your
if
hadiths
it
were
was
written
gathered,
later.
if it was gathered
Yeah.
by Bukhari, that doesn't mean he made it up.
Oh, but hold on one second. I'm not saying he made it up.
So what do you mean?
I'm
What do you
saying
say?
he just compiled what others made up.
What Adam made up.
No,
yes, what others
no,
made up.
Muhammad
No, no.
sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Look,
Yeah.
have you studied the way Al-Bukhari
Right.
compiled all this stuff up?
Can you show me a hadith
Yeah.
that says that Ishmael is the son that was sacrificed?
Why should I show you that?
Because that's the topic of conversation.
Okay, but why? Like, why should I?
Okay,
like, put that?
it's important because the Quran.
Then I get to your end point. You want to say Ismail is like it wasn't mentioned. Okay, what's your benefit?
So
of
which-
that?
We celebrate Eid.
So-
He's not happy. You understand?
No. Don't listen to
We
what he
celebrate
says
Eid.
about me. Ask
Who
me
celebrates-
about what I am
who
I will
doing.
ask you,
celebrates
yeah.
Eid?
Yes,
What's the
don't
reason?
listen to this guy.
don't
He's
listen
just
to
here
this
to cause trouble.
yeah.
He's just here to try and start an argument.
Who celebrates Eid? Who?
There we go.
Jewish people celebrate
So
Eid.
he's trying to just start an argument.
Celebrate Eid.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
celebrate
If it's
Eid.
Ismail or not
We
Ismail,
Ismail
what's the
then.
difference?
Right.
So we
Here's
celebrate Eid.
why it's important.
That's the
Why
proof.
it's important.
You're the proof.
What it will add or
Because
what it will
yes,
get out.
because the Quran, which surah was it? 34.
Who celebrates Eid?
Which surah was it?
Muslim.
34. The story of Abraham.
Muslim, yeah.
Safar?
That's why
Safar,
Ismail.
yeah, Safar.
Safat,
Safar.
Safat. There we go. 34, 104 to 110. So here, Muhammad, or the author of the Quran, whoever that is borrowing
No,
us.
it's not an
Is
author.
is
It's
borrowing
from
a, is
Allah.
borrowing
It's
a,
not an author. I'll stop you here. It's from Allah.
no, that's your claim.
No, that's
But
not
it's
a
not-
claim.
No, it's not a
You just
claim.
said
get
you're
it.
claim. No, that's not a
That's a
claim.
claim.
You never
That's a
even
claim.
said he's the author.
No, you should not argue with us.
For the sake of argument, let's just say Allah. For the sake of argument. For the sake of argument. Allah is borrowing a story
Who's
here.
Allah?
That
Allah is God.
Allah is the
Creator.
invention of Muhammad.
That's a creator. Allah
No,
is a creator.
no, Allah is the invention of Muhammad.
No, he's the
That's
creator.
why Aisha
Translation.
said, Allah is quick to fulfill your wishes, O Muhammad. You see, Muhammad was the God of Allah. Allah did whatever Muhammad wanted.
What, sorry?
Anyway, coming back to this. The Quran is borrowing a story it doesn't understand. And I'm going to show you why. Right? Allah is the only one you worship, right?
Yes.
Allah is the only one you should give any sacrifice to, correct?
Yes.
Allah is the only one that you owe anything to in terms of ransom, yes? Right. Now read the story carefully. Shall we just step over here a bit, away from the noise?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's step over here a bit, away from the noise. Right. I appreciate the tone and the attitude with which you're coming into this conversation. I really do. Thank you very much. So listen to this story and work it through with me. We called out to him, O Abraham. Who's the we there?
We called. We.
Who's the we?
Allah.
Allah. Thou hast already fulfilled the vision. Thus indeed do we reward those who do right. Who's the we?
Do we? Allah.
Allah. Okay. For this was obviously a trial. And we ransomed him with a momentous sacrifice. Who's the we?
And we. فَأَذَيْنَاهُ.
Who's the we here?
Where? Which? And we.
You answer them. Allah.
Allah. Right. Who does Allah sacrifice to?
Allah
Allah sacrificed you?
Yeah.
فَأَذَيْنَاهُ.
What do you mean by Allah sacrificed you?
I'm asking.
No, he said no, it's not like this. It's
Says we ransomed him with a momentous sacrifice.
Yeah.
So who does Allah owe a ransom to?
No.
And who is
Like
the
the
sacrifice that
same-
Allah
it's
is
not
making?
like
Ibrahim
Yeah.
for a sacrifice.
Right.
Okay?
But it doesn't say Abraham, does it? It says
That's
we.
from the beginning.
No, we ransomed him. Allah ransomed Ibrahim.
Ransomed from who?
From the ذبح يعني.
To butcher his son, to sacrifice his own son.
Yeah, but do you know what a ransom is?
Ransom. I'm reading it.
Like the one you use for like.
Does the word do you guys know Arabic?
Yes.
Right. What is the Arabic that's been translated by a Muslim scholar?
وفديناه بذبح عظيم.
Yeah.
فديناه
فديناه is like.
What's the word for ransom in Arabic?
فديناه فدية.
And fidya, and is that what appears in the Arabic?
And what is
Well,
this?
it's not the same. Like it's.
Does it say
It's not
ransom?
like, you know what?
It's
Arabic
ransom,
is
yeah.
totally different than
Is it the word
English.
ransom?
It is, but like
Right.
it's not.
It's
literal.
like
What's a ransom?
Ransom is used like in a hostage situation.
Yeah. So work that example out. We've got a hostage
But
situation.
like it's different. That is the thing. In Arabic, this is different. Like when you
So
read it in
so
Arabic,
ransom doesn't mean ransom in Arabic.
it does, but it's in a different context,
it
a
doesn't
different
give
way.
us the
Like
direct
فديناه
meaning.
بذبح عظيم. Like so, it's just like
Instead
so instead of you sacrificing your son, we ordered you to sacrifice a
Yeah.
So
big
Allah
lamb.
gave him another choice.
So he gave him a choice, and it was a trial. It's the
Yeah.
whole story.
Yeah, I know the whole story's a trial.
Yeah.
But the point is,
Yeah,
Allah is saying we ransom
yeah,
with a great sacrifice, right? He's not saying we gave to Abraham to sacrifice. He's saying we ransom with a momentous sacrifice, which begs two questions. One, who is Allah ransoming to? And who is Allah sacrificing
No, it's
to?
not. Allah is ransoming
Yeah.
for no one.
Okay, by the way, this is a mistake. I think
It's
maybe
a mistake in the Quran.
English translation.
No,
No,
not
the
in the
English
Quran
translation.
translation.
Because
So
in
it's
the
a
Arabic-
mistake in the
no,
translation.
In the Arabic,
Do you want to pull up other translations?
Just a minute. No, just a minute. Like I care about the Arabic version. to
Yes.
be honest. The Arabic version doesn't make sense. Like says that.
But you said the word was ransom.
Just a minute. It is ransom. It's in a
It is
different
ransom.
way. In a
So that
different- in a different way. It's like.
Go on, give us a different idea
instead
of what
you-
ransom means.
Instead of you, okay, sacrificing your son, okay, we gave you the opportunity to sacrifice like a lamb.
That's
Instead of that.
not a ransom,
Okay.
that's a choice.
That's a choice. Okay,
It's not a choice.
It's not a choice.
So it's not a choice.
Like
It's not like it doesn't mean a choice.
a replacement.
Yeah.
Like you can say anything. Like you don't-
Yeah.
a replacement or anything you can say that.
Yeah.
But it's not as like the first thing. God doesn't need sacrifices from us.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Yeah.
God didn't need a sacrifice from Ismail. It was a whole thing as a trial.
Yeah.
From Ismail.
The Quran never says Ishmael.
Just a minute.
Quran never says it.
The Sunnah says that, but even if the Sunnah doesn't say that, we just take it as it is.
Even
One
if the
of his
Sunnah
sons.
doesn't say it.
Even if that, it's one of his sons.
Yeah.
And we just take for it.
Yeah. Now, you know Muhammad used to hang around with Jews.
No, in Makkah, no.
No. When hold on one second. In Medina,
Medina, yes.
There were
Makkah,
Jews.
No. But when did it start?
No,
The
hold on.
revelation started in Mecca.
did Muhammad go to Medina
When?
at the Hijrah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Were
When
there
did that-
Jews in
when-
Medina?
When did the Hijrah
Why
happen?
did he choose Medina?
Right. Were there Jews in
No, no,
Medina?
when did the Hijrah happen?
Oh, hold on one second, bro. All I said was Muhammad hanged around with Jews.
When?
That's not the point.
It is the point.
No, you don't
No,
even. What's the point I'm going to make by that?
Just a minute.
What's the point
I-
I'm
I-
going
I
to make by
completely understand
that?
your point now.
What's my point?
You're gonna say that because he hanged out with Jews, he knew about their stories and he used them.
Yes.
Well, no.
That is
the
it.
revelation of Islam started in Mecca before the Hijrah.
Yes.
Way along with before the Hijrah, and there was no Jews in Mecca.
No, one second. You've got this wrong entirely.
Yeah.
Muhammad was a tradesman for his first
Not
wife
from Medina.
Khadija.
Not from Medina.
Were for his
Damascus.
first wife
Damascus.
Khadija,
Damascus.
and there were Jews in Damascus.
No, there were Christians
and there
in
were
Damascus.
Christians also in Damascus.
Yes.
And there were Jews around the Middle East, and there were Christians around the Middle East.
Yes.
And Christians also knew this story. So Muhammad is taking a story
Okay, they knew this
that he
story.
doesn't understand.
No, okay, just a minute. No, this is now the funny part. Who ever told you
Yeah.
that Islam contradicts? Okay?
Sorry?
Who told you that Islam, okay, like, it doesn't say that we respect Christianity and Judaism as religions?
I
It
haven't
says-
even raised that point.
Just a minute.
That's
No,
not a
that's
point
the
I've
thing, that's the
raised.
thing, that's the
We have
thing.
similar
We do
things.
have similar
We have
we have
similarities.
similar stories.
We have
similar
similarities,
conceptions.
yeah.
That's the thing. So it's not a big issue. Even if you have it in the Bible,
It doesn't mean that we should not have it.
we even
Hold on one
like
second.
the
You're getting
Israelis,
excited.
you know, the
You're getting
Israelis.
excited. You're getting excited.
The story, the Israelites, okay?
Right.
The Old Testament.
Let's
we can read it.
let's
and
come.
We can read it.
Let's come to the reason why it's important who was sacrificed.
Yes.
It was because the sacrifice was connected to the covenant,
Yes.
right? In Christianity, we believe that the sacrifice that Abraham made of Isaac, that was then substituted by a lamb, is pointing towards the fact that Jesus Christ is the sacrifice for the world. Now let me explain how we figure this out. Because the lamb that Abraham sacrificed represents Jesus Christ. Isaac, in this story, represents humanity, or those that are within the covenant, that God has given to Israel and the church. And Abraham in this story represents the judgment of God. Because we have sinned against God,
Why? What do you sin against God?
we've sinned against
Why?
the glory of
When?
God.
When?
Because we lie,
Okay.
because we hate,
Okay. All human
because
beings.
all human
All
beings.
human beings.
You,
From the
you,
start.
me.
Are children sinners?
Are children sinners? No, of course not. Are children?
It says that they are sinners.
No,
Sinners.
show me where it
Just
says
a
that.
minute, look.
No, no, no. You've made a claim.
Just a minute,
Show
just a
me.
minute, just a minute.
No, hold on. 1 second. You have made a claim that is a lie by your Muslim teachers. Your Muslim teachers have lied to
I
you.
watched
You have lied. You've been lied to.
Bible is lie.
Show me where it says.
Alright,
Show
lie.
me. Show me where it says in the Bible that
Hadith
children
are
are
lies.
sinners.
And hadith are copied from Torah and Bible.
What did you say?
They are
We're
not from
talking
Allah.
about where it talks about children being sinners.
Muslim.
What the Bible actually teaches, and I'll tell you what it teaches while you look up the Bible verses, is it teaches that all human beings
which
are
version of
born.
Bible? Which version of
all of
Bible?
them. All of them.
No, they are
all of them.
different.
You see, that's another lie you've been told in the mosque.
No, it's not a lie.
That's another lie you've been told in the
Mosque are
mosque.
corrupt.
Your hadiths are different. Your
Mosques
hadiths
are
contradict.
No, no.
Shia Muslims and Sunni Muslims can't agree upon which hadiths to believe or to use.
No, it's different.
That's
We-
true.
we ag- no,
That
we
is
Hadith are
true.
not from Allah.
No, no.
That is true.
No, we agree
Muslim
on-
scholars
These are not from Allah.
can't agree which hadiths are sahih. They argue amongst themselves about what's sahih and what's not sahih.
All
No, we know
hadith are
it's
lies.
sahih.
No, you don't.
Hadith
No,
are
you
copied
don't.
from
No,
Torah
we
and
know it's
Bible.
No, you
sahih.
don't.
No, we know it's
Different
sahih.
Muslim scholars like Al-Tabani give
we know
different
that.
gradings to other
Yeah.
Muslim scholars
No, it's
like
not.
Ibn Kathim.
Yeah, no, but we know which are like true hadith. We know which are made up hadith. We know that.
No, you don't know.
How
You've
did
been
you know?
told
No,
that.
not been told. We know.
Yes, you have.
No.
Who
No, you know
told you
what?
that?
No,
Who
in
told you
Islam-
that?
in Islam,
The scholars.
not
The scholars
scholars.
told you that.
But you should think as well. Like in Islam, we have a room to think.
Where does the Quran?
We have a room to,
Go on.
to understand. We have a room to decide.
Yes.
In Islam, like we're not taught everything by spoon feeding.
Well, hold on
We
1
are
second.
taught the headlines, and then we decide what to follow.
Right,
We
and that's a
decide
problem.
No, it's not a problem.
That's a problem. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, let's come to
The
it.
Bible teaches that we are all born sinners, we're sinful.
No,
Selfish
hadith came
natures,
from
unless
Allah.
we are born again by the
Hadith
Spirit
has
of
been
God.
So where's the
we
Bible
will
verse?
never see the kingdom of God. John 3.3.
Let's look at this. John
3.3.
John 3:3. Right. The Gospel of John is going to say that babies are sinners.
No, not sinners. All born sinners.
Ah, right.
We
Let's.
are born sinners.
Right, but
are you born
one
as an
second.
adult?
I want to have a polite conversation
Yeah,
with
but
you,
I'm saying-
but if you insist on interrupting me, I'll start doing the same back, and then you will get upset.
All right, go on.
So let's have a civil
I
conversation.
said that.
Let's have a
Well,
civil
you're looking for it.
conversation. Let's have a civil conversation. This is what it says, right? Verse 3. I'll read from verse 1.
Yeah.
Now there was, from verse chapter 3, are you sure it's chapter, yeah?
this is
Now there
chapter,
was a
yeah,
man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews.
Truly, I say
This
to you,
man,
unless one
listen,
is born again.
listen, are you listening? A rabbi, we know that you come from God as a teacher, for no one can do these signs that you do unless God is with him. Jesus answered and said to him, Truly, truly, I say to you, unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. Nicodemus said to him, so we're in verse 4 now, we've not seen any statement that children are sinners. How can a man be born when he is old? He cannot enter a second time into his mother's womb and be born, can he? Jesus answered, Truly I say to you that unless one is born of water and the Spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God. That which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Do not be amazed that I said to you, you must be born again. The wind blows where it wishes, you hear the sound of it, you do not know where it comes from and where it is going. I've not read anything yet that says that children are sinners.
Okay.
Right, want to find again, want to try again. But let me come back to you. No, I'm going to come back to you now. No, I'm going to come back to you now. No, I'm going to come back to you now. The reality is, your Muslim scholars have lied to you about what the Bible teaches.
They haven't.
What the Bible actually
They
teaches, is that human nature is sinful. Now, what does that mean? It means, as you just read from the phone, that we're born with a selfish nature. Now, when a child is selfish, it can't hurt anyone. It's not culpable of an actual sin because it doesn't understand the consequences of its own selfishness. But that same selfishness you see in a toddler who demands that you stop whatever you're doing to service its needs right now is the same selfishness that means that people betray you in work, that people betray you in your community, that people take advantage of you. It is rooted in the nature, and that is what the Bible teaches. It teaches we're born with a sinful nature, not that we're born guilty of sin. That's an entirely different thing. You just don't understand what the Bible teaches.
One moment. Okay,
Now,
when it says
coming
we are
back
all
to
born-
Genesis.
we are all born. One minute.
Yeah.
I need to say something now.
Yeah.
When we said we are all born sinners.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What does it mean?
So, I've literally just in the last few minutes
You just said the nature.
explained
You just
that
say
to
the
you.
sinners. No.
I literally
There's
just
a
explained it
difference.
to
There is
you,
a difference between
but I'll
a sinful
explain it
nature-
to you
one
again.
moment.
No, you've asked me
No,
what does
one
it
moment,
mean,
one moment.
so I'm going to
You'll have
explain
time,
it to
you'll
you.
have time. I didn't
Okay,
cut
so
you.
you're going to
One
tell me what? My
No, no,
beliefs.
no, no,
Go on,
listen.
try. That's
You
funny.
said the nature. I'm saying a person can have a sinful nature, but he said you are not all born with a sinful nature.
Wait,
you
wait,
are
wait.
all born sinners.
No, I didn't say that.
No, I said that.
Yeah, and you're wrong.
But it says you are all born
Show me,
sinners.
show me. Show me the Bible verse, not some,
which Bible
not
verse
some.
is it?
This is from.
Any Bible teaches the same things as what I've just
This is
described.
from Bible.
Okay.
Any Bible.
This is biblical answers, by the way.
Right,
Okay.
yes, yes.
So that's not an Islamic
It's a
one.
human being trying to give their best understanding of the
Exactly,
Bible,
exactly.
and they can be wrong. Agreed.
can be wrong.
They are
But you
wrong.
can be wrong as well.
If they say,
You can be
if
wrong.
they
One
say,
moment, like, you can be wrong.
yes, of course.
You're a human
So
being.
the thing is, you need to do more research. But coming
No,
back,
I don't have to do
coming back to the story of
That's the
Genesis,
thing. I'm not-
because you keep running away from this.
No, I'm not. I'm
You
not.
keep
You
running
are-
away
No,
from
the
this
thing
story.
is-
You are distracted.
I was wanted to talk about Genesis and about the story of Abraham and the reason why it's important. Because the story of Abraham's sacrifice is a representation of what Christ does for us.
This is your thing.
Yes, this is our faith. But your Quran talks about sacrifice and ransom that Allah does, which makes no sense at all. Because Allah is borrowing a story that he doesn't understand the origins of or the purpose of. And in the Quran it says,
Just a minute.
in the Quran it says,
It's your
the
translation.
pagans
It's
around
your
Muhammad
translation.
said,
It's your
the
translation
pagans
doesn't
around
mean.
Muhammad said,
your
we've heard all these stories before.
From where?
Exactly. The Quran says that the pagans had heard the stories of Muhammad
So what?
before.
Okay.
They say multiple places
So what?
that these
So
are
what?
fables of old. We've heard
Just
these
a minute.
stories
Just a minute,
before.
just a minute.
Muhammad was taking stories he didn't
That's
understand and
so
putting
what?
them in the Quran.
Jesus was taking stories from the Jews as well. The Old Testament
Jesus
is the
was
old
a
Jews.
Jew.
Same here. So the thing,
Muhammad was not a
No,
Jew.
you know what?
Just a minute,
You know
just a
what?
Muhammad was not a
Abraham,
Jew.
the religion
Go on.
is all one. Religion is all from Ibrahim. Ibrahim was Muslim, and all of the prophets after him have the same ideas.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ibrahim is like Jew, is like
What?
Jesus, is like us. All of us have the same idea.
It's the same story with you guys and the Jews. Jews
No.
doesn't believe that Jesus is a prophet or a God anyway. Okay, just a minute.
It's not the same
Just a
belief.
minute. No, it's the same
It's not
thing.
the same
Jews
belief.
doesn't believe that Jesus is a God.
They don't
or a
believe
prophet or
Muhammad's a
anything.
prophet.
Okay, but also you don't believe that Muhammad.
Here's
Everyone.
the
just a
thing.
minute. But you
The
believe that
New
Moses is a prophet.
Testament-
It's
Just
written
for
in
one
your
moment.
Bible.
The New
I need
Testament
to-
was
one
written
moment,
by
one
Jews,
moment, one moment,
not
one moment.
by
One moment.
Gentiles. This is a Jewish document.
One moment,
The
one
New
moment.
Testament is a Jewish
Yeah, one moment,
document.
one moment, one
And
moment.
that's what you don't
Okay,
get.
one moment. One moment.
It's a Jewish document.
Just one moment. Okay, so every religion doesn't believe in the religion that comes after, nor the prophets. Jews don't believe
Yeah.
in Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus and Christians don't believe in Muhammad.
Yeah.
While Christians believe in Moses.
Yeah.
Okay, and Muslims believe in Muhammad, in Jesus and Moses.
Yeah.
So it's always been the same story. We
Yeah.
are not in a conflict here. Even if we have similar stories, I didn't think we stole it from you.
Well, but the
Like,
thing is,
that's not the same.
but the thing,
exact
it
thing.
is. Are you guys needing to go?
Yeah, we have.
Okay.
something.
What I want to leave you with, guys, right? And it's a shame that you wouldn't let me show you where the story was stolen from.
I'm happily.
But
I'm happily.
What's
take a photo of it.
important? What's
And I will read it.
important is that the son. Read this chapter from your photo.
Yeah.
The son of the covenant is Isaac, and if you look at the Quran carefully, the Quran says that the prophethood was given to Israel, not to Arabs. Prophethood was given to Israel. That's what your
It's for
Quran
everyone.
says.
No, it's for everyone.
No.
It's not for Israel only.
No, that's what your
It's even
Quran
written in
says.
your
You're
Bible
arguing
that-
with your Quran.
It's even written in your Bible
You're arguing
that
with
there
your
is one
Quran.
another prophet prophet.
You're
coming
arguing
after-
with your Quran.
No, I'm not arguing. It's written in the Bible
Yes.
that there is another prophet is coming after Jesus.
No,
It's
where?
Muhammad.
Show me. Where does it say that? Because
It
that's
says
another
that.
lie.
No, it's not a
You've been
lie.
lied to by the mosque.
It's
There's
not-
nowhere in the
أنا-
Bible
أنا
where it
مكتوب
says
عندنا
that.
في نبي بعده اسمه أحمد، مكتوب بالقرآن.
Guys, you know, I mean, I know we got a little bit heated, but you were very
No, we
friendly
are
and
not.
amicable.
Look, I do like.
Do you guys have a Bible?
No, I
Do you have a
actually-
Bible?
No.
I'd like to give you one as a
Sure.
gift. Yeah, let me give you a gift. Just to show that, you know, there's no hard feelings
Absolutely not.
and that I
Look,
appreciate your
I'm
time.
happy to read about anything, to be honest. Look, we're
Yeah.
not that thing.
Is English your first language?
No, Arabic is.
Okay, Arabic is your first language. Here, there you go.
No, you have Arabic one?
There you go.
Oh, you have Arabic.
I do not have an Arabic Bible.
No,
Have a read of that. If you ever come again, write down your toughest questions and come back and give me your toughest question.
Sure thing, sure thing.
Yeah.
Cheers. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
So what we saw is that we saw what we Christians need to learn from.
Okay.
Learn that any Muslim is willing to stand up firmly to defend their faith.
Yeah.
Christians, are you willing to do the same?
Good question.
Do you know the Christian faith to stand up for your faith as you should?
Good question.
The reality is
Yeah.
that Muslims today are celebrating a feast
Yeah.
called Eid al-Adha. And that feast is a feast that they have copied from the Jews based on a story that the Quran has taken from the Jews that they don't understand. Their Quran says that Allah provided a ransom and a sacrifice. But to who did he ransom? To who did he sacrifice? It makes no sense for Allah to speak like that. Why does Allah speak like that? Because he's borrowing a story from the Jews. He's borrowing the story of Abraham and Isaac. And Abraham and Isaac show that God always intended to introduce the sacrificial system.
Right, so.
Abraham was provided with a sacrifice to ransom Isaac, showing that God was always going to establish a sacrificial system in the temple. And then the Jews continued to practice sacrifices. Why?
Why?
Because without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness of sins. Why must life be given for redemption?
Why?
Because God created you and you owe God your life. And because you haven't given God your life, life is demanded as sacrifice, as ransom for the debt that you owe to God.
Right,
So, these sacrifices in the temple are the sacrifices that Jesus gives. It says in Hebrews chapter 10, verses 14.
Read it.
Let me just get it up for you guys. From verse 11 to 14, every priest stands daily ministering and offering time after time the same sacrifice that can never take away sins. But he, having offered one sacrifice for sins for all time. The sacrifice of Jesus Christ is what gives the sacrifices of the temple their merit, because they are foreshadows of Christ's sacrifice on the cross. Sat down at the right hand of God, waiting for that time until his enemies are made a footstool for his feet. For by one offering he has perfected for all time those who are sanctified. In other words, we Christians are saved and being saved. We are saved once and for all because what Christ has done for us, but we are being made worthy of that salvation daily by the work of the Holy Spirit, who calls us from one holiness to another holiness. And the Holy Spirit also testifies to us in the Old Testament, and it gives a quote from the ancient scriptures, showing that there is a continuation of sacrificial belief in the religion of Abraham, the religion of Moses, and the religion of Jesus. But the religion of Muhammad does not have this concept of sacrifice. But they have the story in their Quran, a story that they don't understand. They are celebrating a feast today in imitation of a religion that their religion does not copy or believe. But they tell you that the religion of Abraham, Moses, and Jesus and Muhammad was the same. But it clearly was not the same, because Abraham sacrificed for the redemption of Isaac. Moses commanded the priests to sacrifice for the redemption of Israel, and Jesus sacrificed for the redemption of the world. But Muhammad never sacrificed any animal as a priest for any kind of redemption of the Muslim Ummah. In other words, the religion of Abraham, the religion of Moses, and the religion of Jesus is the same. But the religion of Muhammad is a different religion. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen? Any questions?
Expand upon salvation before Jesus came.
So salvation before Jesus came. When Jesus died upon a cross, his soul descended unto the dead, so that he might preach the good news to the souls in Hades. The merits of the sacrificial system in the Jewish temple, the first and the second, received their merits from the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. Because it says Christ in Hebrews 10:14, that the sacrifice of Jesus was for the sin of all time. All time means all time. It means the time in the past, the time in the present, and the time in the future. The sacrificial system of the temple was pointing in foreshadow to the sacrifice of Jesus Christ.
Right.
The sacrifice of Abraham, the lamb that he sacrificed to redeem Isaac, was a foreshadow of the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. Our salvation comes through the sacrificial work of Jesus Christ alone, past, present, and future. Any other questions?
Is it biblical to say that Jesus descended to Hades?
Yes.
Is that biblical?
The Bible teaches in the epistles of Peter that the soul of Christ descended to Hades to preach the gospel to the souls in Hades. That is what the Bible teaches. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Going once?
So, what are the dangers of following Muhammad versus following the teachings of Christ?
If you follow Muhammad, the danger is that you will find yourself outside of the salvation offered to you by God. The Muslims accuse Allah of changing his mind, of founding a religion of sacrifice with Abraham, of founding a religion of sacrifice with Moses, of founding a religion of sacrifice with Jesus, but then with Muhammad changing his mind and throwing away the idea of sacrifice. The Muslims will tell you that all the prophets followed the same religion, but the evidence shows that they don't. Abraham sacrificed, Moses sacrificed, Jesus Christ sacrificed. Muhammad sacrificed nothing for redemption, nothing for salvation. Ladies and gentlemen, any more questions?
Going once.
Yeah.
No questions, sir, the gentleman.
You're just a goyim.
I'll just repeat the question. Go on, what's the question?
What's the question?
Just keep quiet.
Hurry up,
You're a goyim and a Gentile. You're talking out of your arse. You're lying. You're lying for everyone. And it's all created by Romans and Jews, Christianity.
Now notice the anti-Semitic slur, talking about the Goyim. This man uses an anti-Semitic slur, and we won't be covering up his face, an anti-Semitic slur talking about goyim. This kind of bigotry and prejudice must be fought against. The reality is that the New Testament is a Jewish document. It is a Jewish document that predates the Talmud. It is a Jewish document that predates the Quran. It is a Jewish document that predates the Quran, and it is talking about a Jewish religion. Paul did not see himself as founding a new religion or converting to a new religion. He saw himself as a Jew living in the fulfillment of his Jewish religion. Any more questions, ladies and gentlemen? Any more questions? Going once, going twice. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like we got a bit of a fight starting over there. If there are no more questions, I'm going to take a pause. Thank you very much for your time. God bless.